And we are live, Bruce.
What's the good word of Jay? I don't know what the hell that was. That
That
was not.
was
Can
okay.
we can we
Start
restart?
over.
Can we restart?
That was
Jay-
okay. I'm gonna introduce myself today. I am Summer MJ. I have
Summer.
officially completed my semester. I have kicked everybody out of the dorms, so I
Beat
am the only
asses. You hear that? He's a bouncer. He'll whoop your ass.
I am the only person left on my floor, so I can do as I please for the time
Party,
being.
dude. Run up and down. So, question. All right. So, since you're the only, are you the type of guy that's gonna run up and down the hallway naked?
No,
No, not even with that badass hat. Like, just run up and down naked.
as tempting as that is to run up and down my hallway naked with only my bucket hat on. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Hey, hey. Well, it could be a big bucket.
Because yes.
and,
Um,
and it starts talking about MJ
and we're there already.
with a big bucket.
Nice. Love to see
Nice.
that.
No, hey, that's awesome though. So, dude, you're gonna be a senior. How's that feel?
I have. It's very weird. I have one semester of college left, so I graduate on December 18th.
Crazy, bro. You're a senior. I coached you when you were a freshman in high school.
Yep.
First of all, that makes me feel fucking old.
Yep. It should.
But secondly, though, so not to get all sentimental on you or anything like that, or anyone watching, but super proud of you.
Thank you.
You bust your ass. You deserve every accolade. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be where you're at.
That's true.
No, that's not true. That
Oh,
is
by the
not.
way, I'll give you a live update. I don't know about.
Oh,
I
oh.
don't know about you. I'll have to work on that, but I do have the ability to kind of freely go be press at NFL games.
Oh, look. I mean, let's be honest. Could you imagine this guy covering an NFL football game?
No, kind of.
Just give me a tie. Sir, dude, if I could cover I would totally cover a Buffalo Bill game just so that way I could be like, Josh, no, Josh, no, Mitchell. Yeah,
I
hey,
was wondering where you were going with that.
hey. So, Mitchell, how are you, sir? I hope you're doing well.
How are you doing, sir? Oh my
But
god.
hey, man. So, dude, crazy thing. So, first of all, how was your day? Obviously,
My
it's
day
been
was good. I got up at 7:30 and I started blaring AC/DC in the hallway so that people would leave. Um,
what? I would not leave if I heard ACDC. If I heard ACDC, I would actually crack open one of these bad boys and start going to town.
okay, well, these are 18-year-old kids who don't even know what AC/DC is.
I
So,
feel like, listen, 18-year-old kids, stop being little bitches. Listen.
exactly. So, they
Kidding!
they were supposed to be out. The dorms closed at 10 a.m., so I told them 8 and I started knocking on doors at 7:30 with my speaker in my hand blaring Welcome to the Jungle.
That's not, well, I mean, that's not ACDC.
It's not.
No.
Okay, I have a playlist that is mostly AC/DC, and that's on there. So calm yourself.
Oh, okay, listen, young man, 21-year-old.
Yes, I'm 21. Yeah.
I know.
And
God, who
clearly,
is
I need more caffeine.
clearly? Shit, I can't even remember off the top of my head right now who sings that. Someone,
My
someone,
mom would know. I don't.
someone text me or at me who freaking sings "Welcome to the Jungle." Don't look it up. I want to see if anyone's actually like.
My
Someone text me who sings "Welcome to the Jungle." I can count on a few people. So if P Rock Nation, if you're still in there watching right now, let me know.
my
But
mom would
anyway.
know, but
Anyway, so no, it's not bad. So today, how was today for me, dude? Okay, so you remember how I told you a couple weeks ago how I played basketball?
yes, and you were
So,
hyping yourself up and complaining about your meniscus.
yeah, same. Like I woke up this morning and my knee was swelling, hurt like crazy, freaking just pain.
That's sad.
Oh, my puppy is begging me at me right now. Hi, sweetheart, I love you. But yeah, man, like it was painful. It hurt. Terrible. It's I mean, right now it's still pretty swollen, but not bad. But other than that, day's going okay.
Good.
Day's Sorry, I got distracted by the cuteness that is this beautiful lady right next to me, who you have met. But real quick though, so to those that are still watching, if we haven't lost anyone, we've lost a few people. Go figure. But so tonight we are going to be joined at 7:30 by Daz Newsom. Newsom, excuse me. He is the rookie Chicago Bears quarterback from North Carolina. Great dude. Everything that I've read on him, some fantastic speed. Put up incredible numbers at North Carolina. Can't wait to talk to him about all that.
Yeah.
Also, it's stupid. Also included with that, though, later on we have an extended show. We have Cam Ellis from 670 The Score. So it's always fun talking to Cam because he is absolutely hilarious.
I love him.
I am never in awe of you, Mr. Stearns. But no, it's gonna be an awesome show, fun show. So that being said, let's kick it off. Pun intended.
What do you want to talk about?
MJ schedule release.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the Packers this year with the schedule release?
Ugh.
Oh, here we go. They have
a really hard schedule.
The NFC North has a hard schedule.
Yes, because they play the NFC West and the AFC North. So Bears, Vikings, Lions, Packers all have a hard schedule, which is fine. It's equal. It's not like one of even just the Packers. It's not like any of those teams has a disproportionately hard schedule, because I wouldn't like that. Even if it was the Bears and they had the hardest schedule in the NFL and the Packers had the easiest, I'd be like, okay, then Bears fans are just going to say, oh, we had the hardest schedule. Whatever. The thing that drove me crazy, yeah, the Packers are fourth. Calm down. Love you too. The thing that drives me crazy is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl.
28th?
And they have the 28th easiest schedule in the NFL. I
Brady
understand that it goes based off of record from the previous year. There's already predetermined things like what division you're facing. But the fact – oh, hi, puppy. The fact that Tom Brady gets to walk in and play the Dallas Cowboys is his difficult primetime matchup week 1. Really? That's what we're going with now.
Well, let's check this out real quick. So, according to CBS Sports, I mean, it's the same strength of schedule, win percentage that they had from last year. It's the same exact numbers that everybody gets. Yeah. What's funny though is in the top 5, Bears, Packers, Vikings are 3, 4, and 5.
Dang.
That's pretty crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. And then the Lions are tied for the 6th hardest. So the NFC North is going to be an absolute shit show this year, in my opinion. Especially if Rodgers doesn't play, and like we'll take out that argument if he is or not out of the equation. But if he's not going to play, it's going to be an absolute shit show.
Yeah, and like you said before, when we were talking, like the Packers probably have the best roster, but I mean, I'll admit it. Jordan Love would be at the beginning of the season probably 4th in quarterbacks in the NFC North. Like, yeah, Andy Dalton, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins does not scare me, and I still think the Packers win the majority of those games with Jordan Love, but it's much more likely to be an even split.
I
would be.
I think if Jordan Love starts, it'll be the Packers-Bears vying for NFC North championship.
I agree. I think that the Packers-Bears game at Lambeau would probably be the majority of the deciding factor.
Can you imagine that? Can you just think about that?
That would be fun.
You're defining, but it would be fun, like from like that bigger perspective.
Yeah.
To go from like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
I mean, that's how people felt about Aaron Rodgers. So I did a podcast episode because I have the 2 Packers
Jordan Love sucks
at Primetime Sports Talk. and we did a combined 2 hour and 15-minute show talking a little bit about the draft and then mostly about the Aaron Rodgers thing. And the summary we had was, first and foremost, this is very much blown out of proportion. Is there an issue? Yes. But is he probably...
He's going to play.
He's going to play for the Packers in 2021. Is this his last year? Most likely. We're looking at a last dance scenario.
I agree with that. I agree.
This is their last run. The Packers are not a team that, like the New Orleans Saints, will sit down and put themselves into salary cap hell for anyone. They just don't do that. They are the peak of winning, trying to win now while planning for the future at the same time. So, even going back to the Jordan Love pick, I mean, there were people who had Jordan Love as the second quarterback in the draft. There are people who had him going top 10. Like, the draft experts that we trust on everything, who are now ripping on the Packers.
You have, hold on, real quick. So you're using sources that are viable sources. So
Yeah,
I'm not
like Mel Kiper had him as the second quarterback in the draft.
We saw me making fun of Mel Kiper last week.
But like that.
So let me ask you a question. Are you looking at this from with your Packer goggles on, or are you looking at it from like your genuine, like, because you know me, like flat out called myself out on it. I was like, damn, I'm like, I actually do like Mitchell Trubisky. Did I think that there was hardcore room for improvement? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I think he was the best quarterback in that quarterback room at the time last year? Yes, I still think that. However, do I think Justin Fields is a shit ton better than him? Yes, I do, and I am super glad about that. I even admitted a few episodes ago. Listen to me, episodes. A few shows ago that that Andy Dalton's a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah,
he was an upgrade. It's not because Trubisky's a bad quarterback. Because to be honest with you, I actually think he has the attributes to be a great quarterback. It's just all up here.
He's very athletically gifted. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that being said, I was able to look at it from a lens of, yes, I'm a Bears fan, and yes, I am going to still be like, yeah, let's effing go, like, I blah, 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 whatever. I actually got to tell you what I did with my Trubisky jersey, by the way. Yeah. Remind me. But at the same time, though, I'm able to say, yeah, it's probably better that he's gone, and we have a better quarterback now. So that being said, say hypothetically, if Aaron Rodgers is gone, are you going to be like, Jordan Love's okay?
Yeah, I mean, again, before the start of the season, I'd put him as the fourth quarterback in the NFC North because he's never played and we don't know what's going on. Do I think he has the potential to perform better than all three? Andy Dalton. Do I think he has the potential to perform better than all three of the opposing NFC North quarterbacks by the end of the season? Yes. Will that happen? I don't know. But I will refer back. My biggest comparison is Jimmy Garoppolo took the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
Jimmy, respond to my messages. I coached your ass.
You're right. But he didn't even take them because they beat the Packers throwing the football 6 times.
Right.
And they ran championship game. So in a Kyle Shanahan concept offense, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, they're all basically the same thing. In that type of offense, Jimmy Garoppolo and Jared Goff have been Super Bowl quarterbacks. I don't need Jordan Love to go out there and be Aaron Rodgers. My biggest worry, honestly, no matter who the quarterback is the defense. Can they perform at a Super Bowl caliber level? If they can do that, Jordan Love will be able to survive. If they can't do that, it's going to be a problem whether you have Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers.
And that's fair. That's fair only because I can say that, like, what happened with the Bears back in 2018. Exactly. Trubisky was a manageable quarterback.
Exactly. So,
I agree with that.
Obviously, and I keep saying this over and over again, if Aaron Rodgers is throwing 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions every year, I want him under center for the Green Bay Packers as long as he's doing that. But I understand why the Packers drafted Jordan Love, because Aaron Rodgers had a down year, and in the NFL, you don't have the luxury of waiting, right? You don't have the luxury of being behind the 8 ball because then you get fired. So if you're Goody, if you're Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers has a down year in his first year in the system. You draft a contingency plan that you really liked, especially with the draft class after that. They didn't love the quarterbacks this year, and to be honest, I didn't love them after Trevor Lawrence either.
Did you mean to do that?
Oh yeah, I did. I do that so much. It's so much fun.
It's so much fun. So okay, so all right, I'm not all right. I'm totally interrupting you, and I apologize for that. So there was actually a great conversation today that I heard on local radio around by me in Chicago about comparing quarterbacks game by game.
Okay.
So not taking into account the defense, the whole team, or anything like that. It was just like game by game. Who would you take? So Chicago Bears schedule, their first game is opening up against the Rams. Would you take? It's all things considered, it'll probably be Andy Dalton starting.
Yeah, I'll take Matthew Stafford over Andy Dalton.
I would take, yeah, exactly, same thing. So I was looking at it, and it was a really cool conversation. It was a great conversation, and I really think that I'll say by the 5th week, we may see Justin Fields starting for the Chicago Bears, and that I think will turn the tide a little bit if Aaron Rodgers is not playing for the Packers. But we're gonna talk to Cam Ellis about that a little bit.
The one thing though is
I like the finger sir.
Let me find, and this is where I keep kind of trying to like calm down Packers fans, even if Rodgers isn't there. You talk about comparing quarterbacks. Packers first week. It's either Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill.
Jameis Winston or Taysom. It's not going to be Jameis Winston. I don't think Jameis Winston takes another snap in the NFL this year. I don't think he takes a snap.
We'll get to that later. Then you have Jared Goff. Then you have Jimmy Garoppolo.
No.
Then you have Ben Roethlisberger. Then you have maybe Joe Burrow.
Okay, so real quick, that's a curveball, by the way. So not to say that I'm a Steelers fan or anything like that by any means, but I think the Steelers are only as good as how much Ben Roethlisberger's statue ass is able to move and do things in the pocket in Pittsburgh. I think. I'm sorry.
Makes sense.
Because I'm sorry, man, but like, didn't they just restructured his contract and did they add a couple years? Dude, so that's significant because I don't know if I don't know if his skill set is able to keep going because he's not Brady. I'm sorry.
No.
He's not Brady. He's not Aaron Rodgers.
No, he never was.
And he doesn't get in shape clip this shit. Ben Roethlisberger does not get in shape until week 8 of the NFL football season. And by that time, he's probably hurt. Damn. I said it. I'm sorry. God bless, man. I hope you do bust your ass in the offseason, but I don't see, like, dude is always either hurt because he's not in shape or there's other reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I know it's terrible. Injuries, I'm not wishing upon him because that's not the case whatsoever.
No, not at all.
It's just that every time I see the football season and I see Ben Roethlisberger flash on the ESPN freaking scroll, it says he's been hurt because of this or whatever. And you see him and, dude, I'm sorry, man, but like, shit, dude, you're like, what, 36, 37 years old and you just look like a frump.
Yeah. He's
going to get mad at me.
Nah, whatever. But to your point, comparing quarterbacks, then, okay, week 5, Joe Burrow, if he hasn't gotten hurt by then, along the same lines, because he has no offensive line. Again, not wishing him any harm, but I'm not really worried about the Bengals. Then you have either Andy Dalton or a very early on Justin Fields, which in a vacuum, yeah, Justin Fields scares me slightly more, but I'm still not worried about that offense, even if you want to put it that way.
That's fair.
Then you have Ryan Fitzpatrick or Taylor Heineke. And then then you have a rougher stretch of Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. That's a harder stretch. I'll give you that. But that starts week 8. So basically, if Jordan Love is the Packers quarterback this season, he has 7 weeks to warm up before it really gets difficult. before you really start facing
True.
quarterbacks that are difficult. And then even after that, you get Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, Bears again.
Kirk Cousins garbage. I
Right.
suppose, yeah. But at that point,
So
though, I'm sorry, but at that point, though, you might have if Justin Fields is on the field. No pun intended on that one. I would love to see that matchup.
oh yeah, for sure.
Because I'll be honest with you, like if like Andy Dalton is like the Trent Dilfer of the Bears from back in 2000 2001, whenever it was the Ravens won the Super Bowl, obviously. And I'm not comparing the Bears to the Super Bowl caliber team
Yeah.
that the Ravens were, but I'm comparing that skill set at quarterback to the same like thing. But no.
Yeah. So
It's
really, there
but no,
are.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So real quick, dude. So one of our listeners actually asked a question.
Yeah.
Where will Steven Nelson land, and will the Bears make a play to land the corner? No, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to look to land him. I think that their cap situation is so effed up right now. I don't think that they're going to look to land Steven Nelson. Honestly, I don't know where he's going to land. He's actually he's a decent corner. He's more of a nickel corner. I can see him guarding slot guys. I don't think that he's like that number one, number two type corner in the NFL. In my opinion, right now, could that change? Yes. Was he serviceable when he was with the Chiefs? Yes, but
I mean, I've heard Bills,
yeah.
Bills, Bears in that order.
I could see him going to the Bills, and I actually think that he could do pretty well with the Bills. He could do well with the Bears, but I just don't. Their cap situation is so effed up, and I think them drafting man, he's slipping my mind right now. The corner from Oregon, like I think
Thomas
that
Graham.
kind of. I'm sorry.
Thomas Graham.
Thank you.
And he is a nickel. Thomas
Yes,
Graham is a nickel.
I think that kind of takes away from what they're going to do in free agency right now. And if they're going to go in free agency, I actually think that they'll end up getting a tackle potentially instead of like going for anything on defense right now.
Well, yeah, especially because you just lost Charles Leno.
Thank God too, and he's officially not released yet either. Yeah, so I read something the other day that they're not officially releasing him until he was just signed. So that's not true. So interesting. That was probably I don't know if that was an old article or not, but
well, they could be giving him a post June 1st designation.
That's what I think it was.
Washington won't officially sign him until June 1st.
That's fair. The Washington football team. When are they going to name that team, by the way?
I don't know. They were supposed to be working on it.
Call them the Red Barons or some shit like that.
Yeah, I mean there are plenty of things that you can call them.
You can't really change the their colors or anything like that because like their stadiums. I mean, I guess you could.
But it would be a lot of work.
True. Yeah. It wouldn't be the first time Washington's waste their money on shit. So
Warren says Red Wolves.
Anything
like that.
Hey, that could be a sick ass logo.
True.
That could be a really sick ass logo.
Like the Lions, but better.
Dude, way better. I would totally have like a wolf as like the face of a wolf as their main logo.
Yeah.
And then that'd be badass.
I like that.
That'd be badass. But yeah, man. All right, so real quick, let's touch on this before Daz jumps on with us.
Yeah.
So what's this news I heard about Oakland? I don't know. This is one of your favorite teams, obviously. I'm sure, dude. Please forgive me, and I'm totally okay with you correcting me on this. They don't play in the Coliseum anymore.
Yeah, they do.
You like what I did there? They don't play in the Coliseum anymore. So that being said,
no, they do play in the Coliseum still.
You know my opinion. It was a terrible joke. So that being said, what's going on? Do you know anything? Can you? I mean, people are on here. I'm not gonna lie. Most of them are Chicago people that don't give a shit. However, it's actually
make comparisons.
It's actually fairly interesting. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna go get another cold snack. So hold on 1 second. All right, we're back.
So basically, what's going on with the Oakland A's is in 2017 they put pressure on Rob Manfred. We don't want to be in the Oakland Coliseum anymore. there's a location at Howard Terminal, which is out in San Francisco.
Manfred's an idiot, by the way. Sorry.
It's a very similar idea to the recent movement of the Chicago Bears, some of their fans, and like you, Bruce, wanting them to move to Arlington Heights to the racetrack.
It's gonna happen. Hey, that's gaining steam. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, I have.
Gaining steam.
So basically, it's the same concept that, but kind of backwards. Right now, the Coliseum is not on the waterfront, and they want to move it to the waterfront in San Francisco, kind of opposite AT&T Park or whatever that's called now. So the biggest issue right now is Major League Baseball doesn't want them in Oakland. Everybody is moving out of Oakland. Warriors moved out of Oakland.
Why would you stay in Oakland?
What?
Same thing with Cleveland. Why would you go to Cleveland? Why would you go to Oakland?
And you know, the fan base there is very passionate, but they don't get attendance on normal games, okay? They don't sell out consistently. Is part of that the stadium? Maybe. Is part of that the people who are there? Maybe. But they're looking at where can we get the most bang for our buck. A's want to move to Howard Terminal. The issue is that's $450 million that taxpayers would have to cough up. And the mayor of San Francisco doesn't want to do it. So the A's are now fighting Major League Baseball and the mayor of San Francisco, and that is a losing battle. So there have been some official proposals. Rob Manfred's trying to go. Rob Manfred is a little bit more on their side now. I hate the guy. I really don't want him on my side personally.
Theo Epstein's going to be the next commissioner of Major League Baseball.
What?
Theo Epstein is going to be the next commissioner of Major League
Baseball. I would love that. Put an actually intelligent human being back there.
Not somebody who called the trophy a piece of tin or whatever he called it. Idiot.
Yeah, and doesn't actually do anything to the Astros. Yeah, that's a different story for another day. But, you know, there is something to be said that the Oakland A's are consistently one of the most talented teams in baseball, using no money and getting no fan recognition or any national recognition. So, if you keep the same people running the team and you put them in a more prominent location, they could easily become one of the most popular teams in baseball right away. And to be honest, they are. They are one of the most... You talk to anyone, because, you know, in Chicago, in Illinois, people will ask me, because I'm a sports communication major, so they always ask me, what are your favorite teams? And when I say the A's, I almost never have anyone be like, oh, I hate the A's. Right? Other than the Giants fans, who can suck it, nobody hates the A's. Right? Maybe Astros fans, but they don't really have anything to say because they cheated their way to a World Series. So, you know, with a team like
you heard that,
A's,
Jay. You heard that, Jay.
Oh yeah, I did. I said it. With a team that is basically accepted nationally like the A's, how can you not have them in a more popular market? So that's the argument that Major League Baseball and a lot of people are trying to make right now.
So
who knows what's going to happen?
Fair.
There was some movement the other day because there was an official proposal. The mayor started saying stuff. Realistically, nothing's new. That's just kind of the situation.
Bold prediction, MJ. Bold prediction. Let's hear it.
They're not going anywhere in the next... I mean, they'll still be in Oakland in the next 5 years. Even just because that the construction will take a while if they do want to move. But if they do have Major League Baseball on their side, it'll take a little bit of time. But if Major League Baseball wants to move them, they'll move them. Awesome. Which I'd be disappointed, but at the same time, like I said, with a team that popular, you kind of need to put them in a bigger market.
No, I agree with that. Hey, so real quick before Daz jumps in the waiting room.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in there or not, but The weekend is right around the corner, and there are plenty of things going on in Central Illinois to keep you and the family busy. Not busy, but busy. Whether you're just visiting or you call the heart of Illinois home, Discover Peoria, the Peoria Area Convention, and Visitors Bureau have dropped us some information about a few weekly discoveries you won't want to miss. It's a restaurant week. Who would not want to have restaurant week going on in their neighborhood? If you haven't had a chance to check out some of the participating restaurants yet, make sure that you do. Restaurant Week runs through Sunday. When you participate in Restaurant Week by dining at one of the participating restaurants, you will receive a repeat business initiatives incentives. Yes, incentives that are discounts or coupons that will incentivize you to visit that restaurant again after the week is over. There are also social media contests going on. Post food pictures of your restaurant week dining experience on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you tag Discover Peoria and the corresponding restaurant along with the hashtags Peoria Area Restaurant Week 21 and Peoria Foodie. When you follow those instructions, you're entered into win some amazing prizes. You can by the way, the prize is the food, y'all, but these could be even better.
True.
You can learn more about these participating restaurants and others over on the landing page for Restaurant Week on our website at discoverpeoria.com. A struggle this week. Woo!
And let's see, we have Goodnight Gracie at the 12 Bar Rooftop Lounge. An amazing local band, Goodnight Gracie, will be performing at the 12 Bar Rooftop Lounge tonight from 6 to 9 p.m. over in Peoria Heights. If you haven't checked it out, apparently tonight.
They're performing right now. Shit!
Let's go. Anyway.
Watch our show, though.
Yeah, watch our show on the way. There you go.
Yeah,
if you haven't checked out this amazing rooftop bar by Chef Dustin Allen, it is a must-see. Head up to the third floor, grab a drink, enjoy some food, and listen to Goodnight Gracie. We've got more info about live music happening all around Central Illinois this summer on our event page at discoverpeoria.com.
Yes, sir.
And I have received word that Daz is currently in a meeting, so he is working his way towards us right now. But the Bears are in minicamp right now. So
the Bears, there's rookie minicamp going on right now, so that makes sense.
While we wait, I want to talk about.
Oh, here we go.
I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors real quick.
Oh no! Come on!
Because
no one gives a shit.
No, they do. They do, and they should. And here's why: because next year, the Golden State Warriors are going to be the best team.
Oh God!
In the West, and here's why: you have them right now without Klay Thompson, without their number 2 pick, without Kelly Oubre, without Eric Pascal, running through the West. They took down the Jazz, which, by the way, are frauds. They took down the Suns, who I think are much better than the Jazz. Still not really the second best team in the West, but I'll give them more than the Jazz. They ran through those two teams. Granted, Oklahoma City Thunder, Steph Curry just did whatever he wanted. And what he's been doing this year, without Klay Thompson, without those pieces consistently there, is nothing short of incredible. And taking them to a playoff run. And the other night against the Suns, the Phoenix pretty much said, if you're going to beat us, it's not going to be Steph Curry. And Andrew Wiggins said, okay, here's 38 points on 17 for 24 from the field. And so if you can give me a lineup of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, who can drop 38 on command, Draymond Green, James Wiseman in his second year when he's not a defensive liability, hopefully, Jordan Poole as the sixth man off the bench who can drop 20 points whenever he wants. Think Jordan Clarkson. And then a top 3 pick from the Timberwolves, their 20th pick, and then still probably Kelly Oubre and Eric Pascal. That is absolutely terrifying.
Well, during the course of that whole conversation that you said right there, if I could yawn the whole time, I probably would have.
Listen, Bruce, just because the Bulls are a mediocre organization and, you know, just because the Bulls don't really have talent on their basketball team and their superstar is Zach LaVine, who's best known for dunking
He's a shooter, dude.
I mean, yeah, he's gotten much better at shooting,
Bro,
but he's
the
still
dude.
not the number one option on a contending team. So
No, I agree with that. He's probably number two, number three option, and we talked about that before.
exactly. So it is scary, and yes, Kelly Oubre is very attractive. Um,
What?
it is scary to you don't know about this?
No.
Yeah, he's a good-looking young man. Um,
Nice. I like that. I like that.
yeah.
I don't know about basketball, but Curry is the GOAT. He's not
Thank
the
you,
GOAT.
Warren. I
No,
appreciate that.
hey, no, that's not true. We all know who the GOAT is.
LeBron James,
Okay, that's not true either.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's not true either.
Okay, no, this is okay. You want to piss off Bulls fans? I got you. I was watching a video the other day, and Bruce, I'd like you to name one thing that Michael Jordan all time is the best at.
He's the leading scorer in NBA playoff history. Excuse me, average. He's the highest average all time in the playoffs.
But he's not the best scorer ever.
No, he's not. He like Karl Malone was better than him. Like he had more
Yeah.
points. But also you also have to take into account the amount of seasons played.
Okay.
Hold on. Time out. It's actually pretty awesome that we're having this conversation because I just saw a sweet video about this. So according to advanced analytics on this, well, and it was only
What
compared,
advanced analytics? Don't throw that out there.
but it was only comparing. I gotta look at it again, but I just saw it today, so I only saw it one time and I shared it right away because I'm in a group chat talking about comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Okay.
And
I don't think LeBron's the GOAT either.
fair, but it talks about the times that player efficiency ratings.
Yeah,
Exactly. So Jordan led the league 7 times. He was in the top 3 10 times. His regular season, all time, over everybody. He's number 1 overall.
Okay.
Regular season, and he's number 1 overall in the playoffs.
Okay, so he's efficient. Cool. So he's the best at being efficient. I'm proud of him.
He's the best player of all time.
That does efficiency does not mean
before you say anything.
efficiency does not mean best.
Before you say anything, let me just say this. I know for a fact you think Jordan's the best player of all time. And you're totally going on a Skip Bayless rant right now just to get fucking people going. And I get it. And I see it. Yeah, that's why you're smiling right now. And I'm going to tell you.
Okay, Jordan is best in per by 0.5.
That's still best.
Okay, so Anthony Davis has a better per than Shaq. You're saying Anthony Davis is better than Shaq? Really? Really, Bruce?
Hey, well,
you're gonna say Anthony Davis is better all time than Shaq?
That's the best. That's the best gauge. That's the best gauge in comparing generations.
You're gonna say that Bob Pettit is better than Kevin Durant? You're gonna say that James Harden is better than Kareem? Really?
Again, I'm gonna say it again. Michael Jordan's the best player ever.
Name me one thing.
I just did.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. Give me.
I just named multiple.
Scoring, passing, finishing.
I just named multiple.
No, I don't want stats. Right. Bruce, you are big on the eye test. Give me the eye test. Give me something.
To be honest with you, all right. So
the game that he's best at.
Eye test. I will say right now, eye test. From my time of being a part, and again, okay. So my Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan goggles off. I agree with that. Thank you. That being said, Michael Jordan is the best player I've ever seen play offensively and defensively because he busted his ass. Yes, and defensively because he was able to do it all the way, like best well-rounded. Don't come at me with some bullshit about Draymond Green being a better defender than Michael Jordan because that's not true whatsoever. Frankly, I think Dennis Rodman would eat Draymond Green up. Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, I think Dennis Rodman was a better defender than MJ. Pippen was a better defender than MJ.
I don't think Pippen was. I think Rodman
was guarding the number 1 options all the time, Bruce.
It wasn't Pippen. That's not true. So if you saw late in games, no. Dude, I watched the games. if you actually watch the games late in the game, Jordan would always be the one to go over to guard their best players.
So here's the thing.
Here's
no,
the deal, Ellamore.
When it comes to shooting, passing, rebounding,
so who do you
much anything you can measure.
Best passer in the NBA was
better than Michael Jordan.
Best passer in the NBA ever was John Stockton.
Right.
Best.
There's so many people who were better. Kevin Durant, best scorer of all time. If there is anyone in NBA history, I get one chance for a bucket. Kevin Durant. He can get me a bucket over anyone.
Michael Jordan. All day.
Kevin Durant can get me a bucket over anyone.
No, Michael Jordan. Hey, how about this? I would love to see Kevin Durant stick ass go against guys in the 90s.
Okay.
Not gonna happen.
Kevin Durant has better handles than MJ ever had.
Because hand checking. Hand checking was a completely different thing. So if you put Jordan in the era right now,
God.
I cannot believe we're having this conversation. Jordan would easily average way more than anybody in the NBA right now. Bet.
Yeah, because he doesn't pass the ball. Do you understand how much James Harden would average if he didn't average 10 assists a game? He averages the same as Jordan did with 10 assists.
Again, Jordan was a better basketball player than James Harden.
James Harden is a better scorer. James Harden is a better scorer. James Harden has better handles. He's a better passer. He's a better rebounder.
So is James Harden better than Kobe?
No.
Thank you.
No.
But Kobe wasn't better than Jordan.
Kobe was the same as Jordan, and if you put him in the same situation, I think he wins just as many championships. They were copycat basketball players. Jordan said that himself, Bruce. Jordan said the only person that can match me was Kobe.
No. And I'm not disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
So that being said,
they're the same player.
Who is the best basketball player of all time?
I think Kareem, because in my opinion,
gosh, boring.
But here's what I don't like, and I've told you this before. Realistically, and that's my if I have to put it down and make a pick, I think you also have to take into account college, because basketball all time, I think you have to take into account everything. Kareem won more than MJ.
So that makes sense.
Kareem won more than MJ. And so if you use 6 championships as the biggest reason why MJ is the greatest of all time, which I'm not saying you, I'm saying the majority of...
And an NCAA title.
Okay. Kareem won 3.
Okay, I'm not... Okay, chill, dog.
Right. And so he's top scoring. I don't know rebounds off the top of my head, but he's probably top 3. So, he's leading categories. MJ is not top in any statistical category.
But that doesn't mean that he wasn't the best ever, because he was in the top 5. I'm saying right now that he was probably in the top 5 of the vast of statistical categories that you are using right now as your example.
Yeah, doesn't mean he was the best at anything. And so if you're the GOAT, if you're the GOAT, you should be undeniably the best at multiple categories. You should be undeniably the best scorer and the best defender ever. And it shouldn't be a question.
So that being said,
and you can easily say Kareem, best scorer, most points.
So that being said, are you willing to admit that Tom Brady...
Nope.
I won't.
No.
For those of you that don't know...
Bruce, I'll make the same argument.
Hold on, real quick.
Don't get me going, Bruce Males.
But hey, you got me going, shit. So for those of you that don't know, so if you just joined us right now, Daz is actually in a meeting, so we apologize. He might be able to jump on with us, but we are expecting to have Cam Ellis jump in at 8 o'clock tonight. there might be a chance that we have both Cam and Daz jump in. That could happen. So shenanigans.
Yeah.
But anyways, so hopefully Daz joins us. If not, it is what it is. We are a small mom and pop thing, so I apologize if that does not happen. We apologize if that does not happen. But hopefully Cam will jump on with us. He does. He's Radio 670 The Score. But if you did not know this, MJ has this thing, and this thing being he doesn't like Tom Brady very much.
I have
And
nothing against Tom Brady. I just don't think he's anywhere near the most talented quarterback of all time.
okay, so that being said, he just threw statistics at me, and I just was busting his chops saying that are you willing to admit that Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever?
No, because you know why, Bruce? I'll make the same argument with Michael Jordan that I made with Tom Brady, that Michael Jordan, on his own, would not have won 6 championships. You take Dennis Rodman and you take Scottie Pippen off those teams.
You do it all for any team. You can do it for any team. Like if you go to the Bad Boy Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Lambeer, and God, Dennis Rodman again. If you take away those guys, the Pistons don't win. You go to your Warriors with Curry.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna win? You think they're gonna win with Clay without Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, all those guys? No.
And that's fair. But here's the thing. The way Jordan fans talk about him and the way Tom Brady fans talk about him, they make it seem like you could put Tom Brady on
Be careful because they
on the
did.
Jacksonville Jaguars last year.
Oh, I was just saying, you gotta be careful because they took it. They just dropped him. They just dropped him in Tampa Bay.
You just dropped him on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a top 5 defense, and you added Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, one of the best left tackles in football. Yeah, you just dropped him on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Someone in the chat just got after you a little bit. Rodgers can't win with a top running back, top receiver, top 10 defense. He had
a 16th ranked defense. He had a 16th ranked defense last year, but that's okay. And I agree. He should do more with a top running back, the best receiver in the NFL, one of the top tight ends in the NFL last year, one of the best offensive lines. I'm the first to admit that Tom Brady was not the reason the Bucs won the NFC Championship game. Packers offense blew 3 drives that they had. They only got 6 points. Yeah, they messed up. And that's my point. Tom Brady has been gifted so many opportunities, right? And if you want to go back to Jordan, there are plenty of times, he didn't really beat Bird and Johnson. He got the middle ground between a bunch of generations. And so,
real quick, by the way.
Stop. Jordan
Relax.
was gifted.
You know damn well Jordan.
Plenty of things.
Don't say gifted. He got through the Bad Boy Pistons. He also got through the Knicks when the Knicks had Starks Ewing and Allen Houston. He also got through the Pacers with Reggie Miller, Rick Smits, and Davis. Don't give you that. And the Magic who had Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway, Nick Anderson, Horace Grant. That was a sick-ass Magic team. Got through that, too. Also got through a very, very good Seattle. Yeah, you got me going now. A very good Seattle Supersonics team who has Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf, Gary Payton, Hersey Hawkins, and who I don't even remember who else. But, dude, come on. And Utah, thank you. The Jazz. You had 2 Hall of Fame players.
Utah was old, bro.
John Stockton was still a stud.
I'm just saying what the person in chat. I'm not saying it. I'm saying what the person in chat said. Don't.
Karl Malone was also the second MVP rankings that year. So come on.
I will say I will give Jordan more greatness credit than Tom Brady.
Suns. Look at the Suns. Even the Suns. He beat the Suns with Charles Barkley, Dan Marley, Kevin Johnson.
Really, Charles Barkley. Really.
Charles Barkley
really.
Won the MVP.
Really?
He's an MVP.
Really.
He's a stud.
Really.
He's an all-time great.
No.
Yes, he is.
No.
Yes, he is.
Charles Barkley.
Yes, he is.
Really? No. Anyway,
this guy. I don't even know.
I think that the same way in football that it is very hard to compare generations.
True.
The game is so different now than it was when Michael Jordan came into the league. And that's not his fault. That's not LeBron's fault, whatever it may be. But I think it's such a hard balance between statistics, the eye test, things like that. Yes, Michael Jordan does have a lot of stats going for him, but
Oh my
if you
God.
look at it individually, and that's where I look at it at football too, other than some of these unspoken things that Tom Brady and Michael Jordan supposedly have, that that killer mentality, that ability for Tom Brady to make his defense go out there and make Patrick Mahomes look like a fool running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Because that, Bruce, that was Tom Brady. No other quarterback could make a top five defense
All you
perform
youngins,
well in the Super Bowl. No other quarterback could do that.
all you youngins don't know. Don't know.
MJ wouldn't be able to stop Chef Curry. Facts.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
Bruce, do you know the amount of all-time defenders that have not been able to stop Steph Curry?
Well, yeah.
That's a bold take there. Anyway,
I would love to see. I would love to
is
see
this.
Curry stop Iverson.
Well, yeah, Curry's not known as a defender. I never said that.
That'd be great. No, I know, but in my head right now, I was
Right.
just thinking.
And exactly, Iverson.
That'd be a fun matchup. It'd be a
Iverson
fun.
and Kyrie, best handles of all time. My point is, if you want to make somebody the undisputed GOAT, you better be undisputed best all time in a bunch of categories. And to me,
I think I gave that with player efficiency ratings.
no, because efficiency does not mean best at a certain aspect of the basketball.
But that is the best way for us to. That's true. You know this.
I mean, yeah, if you want to only look at stats
to compare, well, that's what you're doing.
No,
but that's that you just said that they need to be statistically high up.
I'm not talking about statistics. I'm talking about when you look at the best score. Bruce, are you listening? Open your ears.
Are you explaining yourself well?
When you look at the best in a category, and I don't mean statistical category. I mean scoring, I mean playmaking, I mean finishing, I mean passing, I mean rebounding. And that doesn't necessarily mean statistics, because you said it yourself. That could be how long they played. That could be a lot of things, right?
So player efficiency rating takes that into account, though, and that's why
no player efficiency rating means how efficient are they?
For the time
in the name.
Well, right.
I don't care how efficient you are.
But it takes into account the time frame of them playing, though. That's why you use that as a good baseline to understand each generation.
Bruce, if you think that you can take one statistic,
am I wrong
and make an entire 100-year argument off of one statistic, and I understand.
But that's what
player efficiency rating does encompass a lot of things, but it's efficiency.
So okay? All right. I see what you're saying. So that being said, is Barry Bonds the best hitter of all time?
I mean, if you take out the steroids argument, yeah.
He's the best hitter of all time.
Yeah.
Ever. Why?
Because he was overwhelmingly the best at hitting home runs, overwhelmingly the best at getting on base. But
I thought we were talking about stats, though.
Even for a good period of time, overwhelmingly the best at average. So when it came to contact, when it came to getting on base, when it came to driving people in, when it came to pretty much every aspect of being a hitter, he was the best all time. You can't give me that with Michael Jordan. He's not the best scorer ever. He's not the best rebounder ever. He's not the best passer ever. He's not the best finisher ever. He's not the best handles.
He's the best ever. Awesome.
I'm just saying, where will Lonzo Ball be playing next season? New York.
Watch.
I'm just saying, for me to be comfortable declaring an undisputed GOAT, I need more than Michael Jordan gave me. I need more than killer mentality. He was good in the playoffs. I need more than that. I need undisputed. Everybody agrees he was the best at so many categories. And he wasn't.
Best ever Jordan. We're gonna ask Cam when he jumps on with us because we'll ask a football guy.
That'll be interesting.
I just share with him. I just share with him the Zoom number. So it looks like Daz might not make it on with us, guys.
Yes.
So
I believe Daz will be stuck in a meeting. We'll do our best to reschedule. I'm talking to his agent right now. And
look at you.
That's the way it was. We almost lost. Who was it? We almost lost Josh Woods because of a meeting too that one time.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It does happen. So those of you that were expecting,
that's what happens when we're live.
Yeah, dude, let's be honest. Like, we did a pretty good job of filling time right there, just like bitching.
Yeah. Who's a better finisher? I'd take Kyrie finishing around the basket.
All right, currently, right now in the NBA,
I think he's asking me a better finisher than Jordan. I'd take a lot of people finishing around the basket over Jordan.
There's one guy in particular I would take over anybody in the NBA ever.
Who?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal is the best. Like he was the most dominant force. Like,
oh yeah,
ever.
Yeah, and
I
think if you want to look at stats, if you want to go that way, I think LeBron probably has better finishing stats just because he takes more layups than Jordan did.
He had to because he didn't have. I don't think LeBron's mid-range game was as good as or is. Well,
no, his pull-up mid-range game is not very good. His back to the basket into mid-range is good, but his pull-up mid-range is not very good.
You know what's kind of cool though is watching the same. This is me being old right now. Watching the evolution of LeBron's game.
Yeah.
Because I remember when LeBron got drafted, I actually bought a LeBron James jersey. I still have it because he graduated the same year I graduated high school, and I was like, "Yeah, there's a guy who's going to the NBA, is my age." Long story short, though, I grabbed that jersey, and I remember like him. All I wanted to do was see him dunk. Like, dude, he just came in, just fucking rah! And I love that. I thought that was really cool. And like now he just pulls up, and that's fine. It is what it is.
I mean, he still plays around the basket the majority of the time.
No, I know, dude. He's a freak athlete, dude. Like the fact that he's able to do what he's doing at the age of 36, that's incredible. And frankly, I would love to see him be able to play basketball with his son. And if we're gonna go down this road, I'm gonna go down this road. Y'all, shut the hell up. Anybody that like gives LeBron James shit about like him well, yes, I just went on a rant saying Michael Jordan's the best ever and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. People need to stop bitching and complaining, saying like, "Oh, LeBron is a bitch" and this, that. Like, stop. LeBron's not a bitch. LeBron's one of the best players to play in the NBA ever. Appreciate greatness when you see it. Right now, you have LeBron James, you have Steph Curry, you have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yes, he is still a great player.
I'll take Giannis around the rim over MJ too.
Okay, stop. You have Joel Embiid right now. You have Luka Doncic. Yes, I'm talking to you too, MJ.
Oh no, don't get me started on Luka. We don't have time for that. Cam's in the waiting room.
You have Jokic. You have like so many great basketball. You have Spider. You have Damian Lillard. I can keep going. But like you have great players. Jimmy Butler. I'll even put him in that category right now. Not great. He's in the not Hall of Fame-ish, but Hall of Great. Good, Hall of Good. But
in the playoffs, yeah.
Genuinely speaking, though, like people need to stop like this whole train of thought about LeBron being a bitch, this, that, and the other. He's a great player. Appreciate what you have because the next generation. Who else is there? Who else? You have Zion. You have Ball. Like it's gonna, you know.
Did you just wait? Which Ball?
Good question. No, I'm just messing with you. LaMelo.
Okay. If you said Lonzo, I was gonna go.
Did you see him? And by the way, did you see LaMelo steal the ball from him?
That was hilarious.
You go for it, like, dude. When I saw that, I was like, hell yeah, dude! Beat your brother's ass.
I love that.
Oh, Cam, what up, dude?
Oh, you.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What a great introduction to that.
Bruce and I have just been yelling at each other for the last hour.
So Daz rookie minicamp starting. So Daz unfortunately wasn't able to jump on with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we've been talking about like MJ got me going about MJ about my.
I poked the bear, and it
He
worked.
did. He pissed me off. Yeah. So he was asking me about. But I'm not going to explain it. Cam, I have a question for you though, real quick, before we talk Bears football. Best player in NBA history.
Oh, I'm not. No way. This is a trap.
oh,
I know. I've seen where this conversation goes, and it is nowhere good. I'm not betting on this. No way.
No, I won't. We won't discuss. I promise. We have too much NFL to talk
too
about.
many questions for you. Yeah, just
give me
say
an
who
answer.
you
Just
think.
give me a name and we'll move on. I promise.
I honestly don't think you can say there's one, and I know that sounds like a cop out, but like it's too.
Thank you.
It's too nuanced of an argument. I don't think you can say one specific person.
Thank you.
Fucking.
It's not the. It's not a fun answer, but I think that's.
No, that's literally what I've been saying. Like if you, and this I'll say this and then we'll go. Like in any sport, if you want to make a GOAT argument, I feel like they should be undisputed the best in like the majority of the categories when talking about players.
Nice categories.
And I think that's statistic and like eye test, personally. And I think that applies to NFL, MLB, whatever you want to talk about. Because Bruce was trying to talk about Tom Brady and Barry Bonds and.
Hey,
it's also just like everyone just chooses who they grew up rooting for, right? Like, these arguments are always based more emotionally than they are. Like, I don't think that many people like comb through the stats and like have it. Like, I think it's basically like if you like Barry Bonds growing up, you say Barry Bonds.
Exactly.
If you like, Ken Griffey Jr., you say Ken Griffey. Like, I think it's more.
Hey, I love Ken Griffey. I agree with that too.
You're right.
So I think it is, but no, I living in Chicago, I hear so much of the basketball argument that I know, and to just be like, oh, like they're both great, good for them.
I use player efficiency rating. That's exactly what I use. And guess who was number one at that?
I presume Michael Jordan, but
yes, sir. Anyway, so thank you, Cam. Thank you. So Cam, it's been a long time since you've jumped on. You like that transition right there? That's what they do in the biz. It's been a long time since we've talked to you. How's everything going? What have you been hearing out of Hallis Hall? How's 670 treating you?
Good. I have no complaints. It has been fun so far. Not a lot going on, I guess. Just because we haven't been in House Hall, I guess we'll get our first chance to actually like go and be at the field this weekend. So nothing to it. It'll be exciting. It's been sort of slow since the draft, but no, I have no complaints. It's a good gig.
Awesome. So speaking of the NFL draft, what are your thoughts on the Bears? Like obviously the big elephant in the room is what they did with Justin Fields. So please, by all means, you're more than welcome to touch base on that.
It's exciting. It's I don't know. I think it's hard to really know a lot about how. I think it's hard to forecast how anything is going to work out right now, but it is as exciting as any other team's draft was. I don't think people thought the Bears were going to have this type of hope at quarterback this quickly after Trubisky, so it's exciting in that sense. It'll be interesting to see. I'm interested to see how he does. I mean, they're not going to do anything serious this weekend, but I'm interested to just sort of see him throw to wide receivers and sort of just be out there and working and just sort of see what it looks like. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I'm on board with 12-4, or I guess 5 now would be, or whatever. I think it's maybe a little more of a work in progress than Bears fans want to admit. But I mean, you could beat teams that don't have any hope, and a lot of those exist, and the Bears have been those, as you guys know, lots of times. So it could be far worse.
Truth. So you already touched on the rookie minicamp going on this weekend and seeing Justin Fields actually throwing to live receivers and everything. So that said, what can you learn as a guy covering them, and what can we learn as fans from the experience this weekend?
Not a whole lot. I hate to be a bummer because it's not nothing, but you're not. There's not going to be any I mean, people will write takeaways because that's the job, but there aren't going to be any real takeaways. It'll be fun because you'll see B-roll of him throwing to receivers, and that's exciting. You know, it's nice to get him in the building and see what he does in the X amount of plays that the offense draws up for him. And maybe if they go, you know, sevens or whatever, or do a little bit of a walkthrough, it'll be fun to see him go against other guys and just play against NFL players at NFL speed, even if it's in shells or in, you know, just helmets or whatever it is. So I don't think there are any real distinctive takeaways outside of just seeing what they have, and just sort of the best expectation is to not have any expectations, you know, like it just let's just start it and see what it is. I don't know how there can be that many expectations right away just because no one really knows what it is. And rookie minicamp is not like, you know, it's not even OTAs, which is not even training camp, which is not even preseason. Like this is about as bare bones as it gets. You know, it's funny. I always get excited to like go out there, and then I stand out there in the field, and I'm like, wait, this is like kind of boring, and like like the weather sucks. You're just standing in the field watching like them do stretches, and you're like, this isn't that exciting. So I don't mean to downplay it because it is. It'll be cool to see him out there running with the offense and just sort of doing stuff with coaches, but it's not going to be a formative weekend, I don't think, by any means.
Right.
Cam, was a lot of people obviously in Chicago were excited about Justin Fields because you're currently comparing him to Andy Dalton and Nick Foles, so fair. Couple of things. One, was the price worth it in your opinion in the trade up for Justin Fields? And then how much does he actually contribute to winning now this season?
Is the price worth it? I would say yes, just because that is what you have to do. And so I know there you know, there are models out there that say that the Bears actually did well in terms of the first round capital they gave up, and you know, there are people that are far smarter than I am, you know, score it with point systems and stuff and figured out that all things considered, it wasn't as bad of a trading away for future first round picks move as others in the past have been. So I guess that is, you know, a bit of optimism in that sense. But that is, you know, when you strike out on quarterbacks, you have to make moves. And when you make moves, you trade away first round capital. And so will I say that, you know, did they fleece the Giants? No, like there's a pretty good chance the Bears aren't good this year and don't have a first round pick next year, and the Giants have, you know, pick 8 and pick 11 in the first round. Like that, that is very possible. And I don't know about likely, but it's pretty close. So it's a risk. And I think it depends on how willing you are to tolerate risk. And I think that Justin Fields, I think this would be worse if this was Mac Jones, obviously. I think this would be worse if this was, you know, even Trey Lance. I think Justin Fields, the way that he was scouted as the second best player in the draft and the way he fell like out of the top 10, you know, you don't get the second best player in a draft who's the quarterback outside of the top 10 very often. And so being able to pull off the move they did for the player they got, relatively speaking, for what they had to give up was a good deal. So I think I'm probably on the side of saying it was a good deal. I think he'll contribute this year. I expect him to start more games than Andy Dalton.
Okay.
I don't think that he is gonna blow people's minds the way that, you know, it's apples and oranges because Pat Mahomes was second year versus first year, but you know, the second Pat Mahomes played, he was amazing, right? Like there was not a ramp up really. Like game 2, he just threw for 500 yards or whatever. So I don't expect Justin Fields to do that. I don't expect him to just immediately be a top 5 player in football, but I think he's going to be good. I think it's going to be exciting. You know, Matt Nagy got to draft a quarterback, and so he knows what Justin Fields can do, and he knows that Justin Fields can do what Matt Nagy wants to do, which was not something they've ever had at a quarterback in terms of Trubisky and Foles and even Andy Dalton. So it's a good move. It costs them quite a bit, but the Bears don't seem to value first round draft picks like other teams do. I think you can argue both ways. The Rams do that pretty successfully. A lot of teams don't. So I don't think it is a foolish thing to necessarily zig when other teams are zagging, but you know the price you're paying when you're doing this. Like it could very easily blow up in their faces. And frankly, if that's the case, they're not going to be employed next year. So
That's true. What it's amazing to me that I don't know if you remember this, Cam. About a year ago, about this time a year ago, people were arguing Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Fields, and even during some of the college playoff, people were arguing Trevor Lawrence during Justin Fields, and eventually it just became consensus that Lawrence went 1, and then all of a sudden Wilson was 2. So even as a Packers fan, I'm fairly impressed that the Bears were able to get him at 11. My concern, even not looking at it from a Packers fan perspective, just like, looking at it holistically, I'm a little scared that the Bears will ruin him. I don't know if that's the right word, but mess it up. I don't know.
This is a Nagy pick. This isn't a Ryan Pace pick. Relax there, MJ.
Well, that's my worry for you guys, is that it is a Nagy pick. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Cam, but
I will wait and see. I think the jury is out on. I don't think Matt Nagy is the NFL savant, and he can turn a sub replacement level player into an all-star. The way they talk about Kyle Shanahan, or the way they talk about Brian Dable, or the way they talk about any of those sort of young up and coming guys who just are sort of blowing the minds of what was considered NFL offenses. So I don't necessarily think he's that. I think he knows what he wants in a QB, and I think he knows. And I think he was severely limited in the years he's been here with the QBs he's had. So I trust that he knows what he wants in a QB, and I trust that Justin Fields fits what he wants. My concerns with Matt Nagy don't really have anything to do with quarterbacks as much as they do the game stuff.
Was it play calling?
Right. And it's not even necessarily play calling as much as it is some of the situational stuff. Mm-hmm. And they got better in the second half of last year, but they have been rough in situational, end of half, end of game. The red zone goal line stuff is confusing at times. And that's not necessarily a quarterback thing as much as it is a play calling thing. So, I don't think Matt Nagy I don't think he has the benefit of the doubt when it comes to developing quarterbacks, because you're right. If he was a Kyle Shanahan, he would have gotten more out of Mitch Trubisky. He would have gotten more out of Nick Foles. It didn't happen. So I don't think you can just plug a quarterback into Matt Nagy's system and have it be wildly effectful. But I think you can plug a quarterback that Matt Nagy knows will fit his system. And I think Matt Nagy's system with people in place will work. So if that makes sense, I'm less concerned about the quarterback development with Nagy than I am other aspects of his deficiencies.
Fair. So moving on from the Matt Nagy quarterback conversation, aside from Justin Fields, they drafted Tavon Jenkins. Obviously, I thought that was a great pick. They ended up releasing Leno. So where do you foresee the Bears starting Jenkins next year? Left tackle or right tackle?
I mean, all indications seem that he's going to be the left tackle.
That's interesting.
Excuse me. I think I think that's the plan. I don't know why you cut Charles Leno if that's not the case.
Cap space. The
thing is that he was well compensated, but there are not that many good left tackles in football, and he committed too many penalties. But also he was fine. There a lot of teams, I would argue more than half of the league had worse left tackles than Charles Leno. There are 3 or 5 truly elite left tackles, and then there are 5 or 6 guys that are good to greats. And Charles Leno probably falls on the back half of that end, where he had plenty of games where he did really well, and there were just inconsistencies to it. And it's hard to be inconsistent at left tackle. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything about offensive line tactics and play, because I don't. But what I read has said that, Jenkins is a bit more of a dice roll of a projection at left tackle because of his physical stature. Now, I think people don't judge this talent of football player he is and the effort. A big part of his game is being really gritty, and he finishes tackles and he talks about pancake. He has that attitude to him.
Yes, exactly.
he's sort of a rough guy in the way that Kyle Long was, where like he'll get up in your face, he'll hit you in the mouth. So I think they sort of like that and his talent and his athleticism, but I think there's a certain physicality in terms of how long his arms are, how big he is, how sort of that stuff that I think left tackles project where they want at left tackle, where he doesn't quite project there. So people have moved to left tackle and been successful at it, and he's a talented offensive lineman, and I think he'll probably be good. But I think it would have made sense to me to put it at right tackle for a year. And I get the argument that it's you don't want to switch tackle positions, like just put a guy in a position and have him learn it. So I get that argument, but I think they probably could have been fine with another year of Charles Leno. I get the cap hit stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if starting a rookie and having Jermaine Ifedi on the other side is really the answer. Jermaine Ifedi was much better at a guard than he was at tackle, so I think they drafted him as the future left tackle, and why wait around when you can just do it? But I would have probably kept Leno for another year.
Fair. So, in general, do you think it was a mistake by the Bears not drafting anybody on the defensive side of the ball, though, because they just went solid offense the whole time?
No, I think by the time you get, they got that D tackle out of BYU in the 7th rounds, and
True.
They took a corner, I think.
They took a corner from Oregon. That's
they're late round picks. Their projections, right? You don't expect any of them to necessarily produce right away, but I think that they really like the depth they have in their secondary. They're really, really high on some of the young guys. They like Duke Shelley a lot. Artie Burns is going to come back. They like Kendall Vildor a lot. So I don't think that there's a need at the secondary that people. I thought the need at secondary I thought was a little bit overhyped. I get that losing Kyle Fuller sucks, and because he's really, really good. And they might take a step back, but I think they like the depth, and I think there's some guys there. So I think that you just needed to improve your offense this year. It just like the defense will be fine. They might not be the best 3 defenses, but they're going to be fine. They're going to make plays. They needed a quarterback and they needed more playmakers, and that was they failed last year because their offense was bad, and so. I get that they're just sort of riding the window of this defense out, and you're sort of hedging a little bit by doing this in terms of losing first round capital and not really building out your team on both sides. But the Bears have a window here, and they sort of need to go for it. And so I get just sort of making the moves that indicate going for it.
Does anything that the Bears did in the draft change guys like Allen Robinson or reportedly Akeem Hicks, some of their veterans wanting out or being disgruntled with the front office and the organization? Not that I'm a Packers fan who's one to talk right now, but
I imagine. That's a good question. I think it probably helps. I know Eddie Jackson was like very vocal on Instagram, being like, "We got a quarterback now." So
yeah, I saw that.
That was an awesome video, by the way.
No one disliked Mitch personally. I know that for a fact. He was well liked in that locker room. You at a certain point, though, especially in the NFL, you just have to do your job, and they tell that to every other player who gets half of the runway that Trubisky got. 4th string wide receivers don't get the chances that second overall pick quarterbacks do. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think it was necessarily a personal slight against Trubisky that like, oh, we have a quarterback now. I think you just have to like, you produce or you don't. And the next guy is going to be there. So to answer your question, I think it probably helps. I imagine that Allen Robinson's probably a little more optimistic now than he was 6 months ago, but Allen Robinson wasn't trying to leave the Bears because of Mitch Trubisky. Allen Robinson's issues with the Bears come from communication with the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine I don't really know about Akeem Hicks' situation, but I think he's probably going to end up getting traded eventually. Like that's just sort of the lifespan of defensive players. I I think they're probably excited, and I think maybe there's a little bit of willingness to go back to the negotiating table, not necessarily like take off money, but maybe you're a little more interested in talking than you were 2 months ago when you thought, whatever, they're not going to pay me. I don't need to go play for Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. Like, I'll go somewhere else. Maybe Justin Fields helped with that, but I think when it comes to contracts, players move less because of other players and more because of their relationship with the front office.
So the potential of being disgruntled could be somebody like Andy Dalton right now, being called QB1. Have you heard anything from his camp with regards to him being upset about what's going on, and how has the communication from Nagy or Pace or whomever gone with Dalton after the drafting of Justin Fields?
I've not heard anything. I don't know. I'm not really plugged in with Andy Dalton. I would be bummed, like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's a tough look. I get this. If you're Andy Dalton, you understand that. I mean, he in his press conference knew that he was open about this as being the end of his career.
QB2.
Right, and that when you're Andy Dalton, that like the Bears aren't signing you for the next 60 years.
Right.
So I don't think you can be surprised. I expect Andy Dalton to start the first couple of games. If not, like I think Justin Fields is gonna I think Andy Dalton's gonna get 5 games this year. I think that I think maybe he didn't realize that he would be like the veteran helper this quickly, but you have to sort of know it's coming. Especially he signed basically a 1-year deal. I guess there's a second year option, but like that gets voided very easily. I think you sort of know what you're getting into when you're in this point of a quarterback's career and you're not a bona fide star. If you're a guy like Andy Dalton or Jared Goff or whoever it may be, like, that you have 4 or 5 years, and if you're not productive, you're going to get replaced. And I think he got a raw end of the deal, and I think it sucks that the Bears guaranteed him that he was the starter and then made the move they did to get a quarterback. But I think that the plan is probably, unless Justin Fields just blows the socks off everyone in training camp, just does the Russell Wilson and just like comes out of nowhere and is just very clearly the best quarterback on the roster. I expect Andy Dalton to sort of get a courtesy 4 or 5 games, just because that feels like very Bears to like give someone his final, swan song and let them like under the guise of development, because that's just sort of the operation they run.
Honestly, I think they named him quarterback 1 because they didn't think they'd get one of the top 4 quarterbacks.
I agree with that.
I mean, I think you're probably absolutely right. I mean, they didn't realize that they would get Justin Fields until, minutes or an hour beforehand in the draft or whatever it was. So I think at one point, Andy Dalton was very clearly QB1, because I mean, all the draft mocks had quarterbacks going 1 through 4, like Justin Fields,
so crazy,
right? And then 3 days before the draft, Justin Fields fell to like 9 and 10 and 11. So, I mean, for the most part, it was are the Bears going to reach for Davis Mills or like just wait until Kyle Trask in the 3rd round? So, but that's also on Andy Dalton. Like, that's a risk you run when you are in the position you're in. Like, it sucks, but you sort of have to understand the business, and I think Andy Dalton does.
So that they have a fairly expensive and experienced QB room aside from Justin Fields. So, and most NFL teams do not keep 3 quarterbacks on their active roster. Right. Do you foresee them moving Nick Foles at all?
I don't know if they'll move him. I don't think he'll be on the roster, if that makes sense. I don't know what value he has at all. I think you just sort of bite that bullet, right? I mean, if the reports that came out said that they tried to trade him over the draft weekend and teams were just like, no. So
sorry.
I think you probably, I think he probably just ends up getting released at some point, and it's a cap hit, and it is what it is. And maybe they restructure his contract so he just walks out of the building with like a $90 million check or whatever. And
I'll take that.
And they just say, sorry, this didn't work out, but like, here's 4 beach houses in Malibu. So I don't think that they're gonna like. It would be crazy to have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. I don't think Nick Foles is in a position that I don't think he'd be the Tyler Bray. Like I don't think Nick Foles is going to spend the last couple of years on the practice squad. That doesn't strike me as a Nick Foles thing. So I sort of see the Blake Bortles thing for him, where he probably gets cut loose and then maybe he just floats around waiting for a call. And if someone, if they trade Aaron Rodgers and need a backup, or if someone gets hurt, then Nick Foles is there. But yeah, no, they're not going to keep him on the roster. I don't see a world where that's the case.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned Blake Bortles, Cam.
And trading Aaron Rodgers, but I managed to get both of them in there.
That's great.
That made me. I was dying yesterday when the Packers signed Blake Bortles, and Packers Twitter is like, "Oh my gosh, that means Green Bay is leaving," and I'm like, "No, he's old, not really good anymore, and he's like friends with Nathaniel Hackett, because that was his quarterback coach when he was good years ago." Like,
yeah, I agree. I don't think it's like Aaron Rodgers is out the door. It's weird.
No.
Like I don't know why.
No, it's funny.
I don't know why Blake Bortles would go be the 3rd string quarterback somewhere when like he could probably be a backup somewhere, especially Green Bay. Like, you really want to just go to Green Bay to be a 3rd string? Like, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it means impending doom. I think they're still impending doom. I just don't think this means
that's fair.
Wow, I like that. So, all right. So that being said, Cam, I have the question that is on everyone's mind, including MJ's. In your opinion, do you think Aaron Rodgers starts for the Green Bay Packers that week that they play the Chicago Bears? What is that? The 5th week? Is that the 5th week?
Week 5 or 6, yeah, in Chicago.
Yeah, week 6.
Yeah,
October 17th.
I don't remember what it is specifically. The 17-game schedule has me all confused.
I know, right?
Oh man.
It's here, Cam.
I think I think he's gonna be on the Packers. I'm sorry. I don't know. I think the Packers may have successfully called his bluff.
Wow.
Like it feels like, and these things change so quickly, but doesn't it sort of feel like it feels more likely to happen now than it did a week ago? When you have like his team going on radio shows being like, well, like he's not happy, but like he's not doomed. Like we could figure this out.
Yeah.
There's also just like a huge financial burden to it. It is not an easy move to make in terms of like getting him on another team. So it's not necessarily like, it's a $7 million salary cap cut or whatever the cap hits, and you just swallow it. Like it is a crippling amount of money to have him not be on your football team. So I sort of look at it the way I did Russell Wilson, where I think at one point Russell Wilson really wanted to leave, and like I did hear that like he was very seriously like put me on the Bears at one point. And there were like all the stories about how it was really close until Pete Carroll swooped in the last second. Apparently, they're just like totally true. And he was like, "I'm going to the Bears." Like,
wow, so it was that was all true, huh?
Yeah. So I mean, which makes sense. Like it was like a NFL Ian Rappaport's report. Like there's no reason not to believe it. But I did hear sort of very similar, but like the things but like the Aaron Rodgers things is sort of the same thing. Where like I think he really wanted to leave at one point.
There was a point. Yeah, there was a point in time when he was going to Denver.
Yeah. And I think he like very seriously spent time being like, I don't want to be here, find me another team. And I think as these things often do, NFL teams sort of let cooler heads prevail in this situation. And also, moving Russell Wilson would have cost $40 million. Moving Aaron Rodgers is going to cost close to the same. Like you have a lot of incentives to just sort of do what Aaron Rodgers wants you to do at this point, because it's you sort of bankrupt your team if you don't.
Right.
Yeah, it's honestly like the thing Rodgers told Mike Tirico right away at the Kentucky Derby was, I didn't want this to come out. And if you think about it, telling Adam Schefter is not really how Rodgers works. He goes on the Pat McAfee show. Like he doesn't do traditional media. And then Schefter said a week later, yeah, this wasn't like a breaking report. It was just an accumulation of information that he decided to break on draft night. So is Rodgers mad at the Packers? Yeah. And does he have a right to be? depends on how you look at it. I mean, they're the best offense in the league last year, so I don't really think he can complain about not having enough weapons. He's perfectly fine when it comes to offensive weapons. But yeah, a lot of his friends have left. And yeah, I think he probably still is disgruntled with the Packers, and he probably doesn't stay past this year. But like you said, Cam, it's a mess for all sides included to try to get rid of him, especially now at this point that the draft is over.
Right. And I tell people this a lot of times because I think because it's an NFL team, it sort of gets lost in the minutia. But like it's an office place. There are like office politics that aren't just about not drafting a wide receiver. And it sounds so silly, but like the same thing exists in Dallas. Like it is an office place. There are relationships that are made and sour because of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with football. Like it is a place of work for everyone, and it sort of gets lost in it because it's a football team. But Aaron Rodgers is probably mad at the front office for stuff that doesn't have to do with draft night stuff. Like, and there are just reasons that don't get reported because it's not really pertinent to football or interesting really to like the average person going on ESPN.com to read about the Packers or stuff. But like there are plenty of relationships that have ebbs and flows that just because they both employed by the Packers doesn't have anything to do with football. So like these things are always more nuanced and go a little deeper than just purely football moves. And I think that's probably the case with the Packers.
It's funny you say that because Mark Murphy and Matt LaFleur have both flown out to see Aaron Rodgers. Brian Gutekunst has not.
Yeah.
And I think and there was the report about Rodgers wants Goody fired, which I don't think he ever said to LaFleur or Mark Murphy, fire Brian Gutekunst or I'm not coming back. I don't think he ever said that. But I do think, to your point, Cam, in the office politics sense, I don't think Rodgers likes Goody because he was really close with Ted Thompson. He was like family friends with the Thompson family and is still friends with Thompson's son. So I think even if it's something petty like that, like you replaced my friend's dad or something like that, it could be something as trivial as that kind of just plays out into something bigger, and then we get a report, Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. Calm down.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, everyone has told him his entire career that he's the most valued member of the organization.
Right.
And so when the most valued member of the organization doesn't get, look at Tom Brady. Like, you want to feel valued at some point, especially quarterbacks. Like, they're just sort of a prima donna position in that sense. Like, they need to be valued and they need to have their affirmation, and that's just sort of part of what comes with it. So, so I think I don't think they're necessarily. I don't think it's like total burn bridges, but like I think I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Green Bay Packer for every year of his career.
I agree.
I'll go on the record to say it, Cam, because I know you can't say it. Aaron Rodgers is a prima donna.
Oh no, I'll say it too. He's being a diva, and to some extent, he's earned the right. You throw 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You've earned the right to want some influence in the organization, and he's smart enough that he could very well be the GM of an NFL team. The man's very intelligent.
I wonder if MJ's a Rodgers fan. So real quick.
Bruce, before Bruce asked his last question, I said on one of my Packers shows this week that I am just as willing to send Aaron Rodgers out the door to save the future of the Packers as I was Preston Smith.
You said that in our last show too.
Look, you have such a limited time to make an impact in the NFL, and if you can get a team to bend over and do whatever you want, like to just basically bend to your will, do it. And also, like, it's a billionaire's money. You don't like. That's the thing, is if you can get an old rich billionaire to give you more money, good. Like, it's immoral to let a sucker keep his money. So I'm all for it, Aaron Rodgers.
100%. No, I agree with that 100%. So Cam, my last question for you this evening, I'm going to ask you the very, very ridiculously early question of where do the Bears finish in the NFC North this year?
I think they'll finish in second. I think that the Packers are going to win the division because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the Packers. I think the Bears are probably going to be roughly the same team. Maybe they'll be a little better. The Lions might be good in 2 or 3 years. They're not going to be good this year, I don't think. I think they have a good O line, and maybe Jared Goff will be good behind a good O line. But it's hard to see the Lions going through the type of organizational, purge and then refresh that they did and just immediately be good. Maybe impressive they were, but I don't see it. And also the Lions. And the Vikings are just like in free fall. So I don't think it's especially hard division, but I don't think it's going to be competitive either. Like I think it's going to be very clearly Packers 1, Bears 2. I'll say Lions 3 and Vikings 4 just to be bold. But,
wow, that's a surprise.
I just think the Vikings are just like deeply, deeply, deeply screwed in every way.
I mean, I agree.
What's that?
I said I agree. I just didn't expect.
I could be totally wrong. Like, who knows? The Lions and the Vikings are like equal levels of 7 win bad, and the Bears are probably like 9 win bad, and the Packers are like 11 win. I don't know.
11 win bad. I would love to be 11 win bad.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, Cam, thank you as always for coming and talking to us. It's been a pleasure. And we appreciate the buying into our madness.
Of course, guys. Thanks for having me. Always a good time.
Yeah, Cam. Much appreciated, brother. Thank you so much.
Easy, guys.
Talk to you later. Wonderful. And
Man, dude. So we've been on for an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. What the hell?
I am tired, Bruce.
Samesies, dude. All right, so t-shirts, y'all. So we have actually this is the prototype. See how you can't see the what you got right here?
Oh my gosh, Bruce.
It was the prototype, dude. My other one, it was dirty, so I was like, screw it, I'll just wear the prototype. You can't really see it anyway.
Oh, look at my hair.
Oof. Hey, look at my hair.
I need what hair?
Hey,
I'm getting a haircut the day of your wedding.
Oh, let's go.
1 p.m. Going to my dad because my dad's gonna be in town for a different wedding.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, so my dad and I are gonna go back to our old haircut place and get a haircut at 1 p.m. And I'm gonna show up looking clean, Bruce.
I appreciate that, and I'm sure Celine will appreciate that too.
Sure.
But so that being said, MJ, amazing show, guys. We apologize about Daz. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna see what happens in the coming weeks, months, years. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Whatever. Shit. It's Thursday, dude. I don't care. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm probably gonna have another beer and go play some Call of Duty.
You ready?
But MJ, I hate you. MJ's the best. But at the same time, I love you. You're the man.
Oh, you're talking about Michael Jordan. I was like, MJ, I hate you. MJ's the best. A little
I know it's very confusing.
contradictory there, but yeah, I am the best. Thank you, Bruce. Love you too. But yeah, great show today. Thank you, everybody. It has been a pleasure. We'll be back next week, and we might live stream the wedding. We actually are live streaming the wedding. It's kind of funny that you asked that question. But anyways, we'll announce that later when we actually have a plan. So yeah.
Thanks, guys, for jumping on with us. Much appreciated. Again, apologize for about Daz, but guess what? A NFL franchise is a little bit more important than Third Down Thursdays right now. However, in the future, it's a little different. No.
I disagree. Anyway, big things coming this summer, so be on the lookout for some changes, for some action. We will see you folks later next week, 7 p.m. Central Time.
Cheers.
Adios.